everybody. Recording live from somewhere. Hello, everybody.
What up, fam? What up, fam? It's me, your boy M.O.I. in the building. And listen, I've been waiting all year. for the month of February to roll around. Because y'all know what time it is.
I love you.
Black History Month. That's what they call it. And we've been teaching all year on this channel that you ain't black. So what I want to spend my time doing this time around, instead of trying to convince all so-called black people that they're not black, we're going to talk about some people in history, black people in history, that you may or may have not known about. And then I'm going to try to tie together, it's going to take several segments to achieve this task. But however, this task will be achieved. Teaching you guys other parts of black history that you may or may not have known about. I'm pretty sure you guys, and I'm only going to talk about the 3, maybe 4 people. And I got a powerful PowerPoint I'm putting together for February 10th. And of course, I'm not alone. Never alone. I got my partner, Mr. Crumb himself. The fucking master student in the building, man. So listen, let me what say you, good brother? How you feeling today?
Yeah. Peace, brother. Peace. All is well. All is truly well. How are you?
All is well, man. It's Black History Month, brother.
Yes. The time has finally come. Black His Story Month. Black Mystery Month. White History Month. Not so black history. Yes. This is yes, sir. You are all white, right?
Yeah. And we're here to tell them, get out of y'all cotton picking mind, man. Get out of your cotton picking minds. What does that mean, Minister? There was a time in history that you were taught about that people that look like you picked cotton, and they were treated cruelly. People spat on them. That's the past tense of spit. I just learned that. Spat. People spat on them. People dehumanized them. And they show you movies like Roots. And they show you all these so-called people look like you out in the field. Well, this month, like I said earlier, family, we're going to focus on the actual truth of this. And what actually inspired me, bro, to do some digging was absolutely this event, February 10th. And it's a Zoom call, y'all. So with this Zoom call, y'all get to talk back to me in real time. Like, I know this is cool right now. We got the comments going. Very appreciative for that. But you guys can talk to me face to face in real time. There will be a question and answer part of it. And I'm going to have a PowerPoint put together so we can follow along. It's going to be an actual class. February 10th. Get the tickets, man. I'm not going to convince or persuade y'all whether we have 6 people or 60 people. Shit gonna go crazy. I guarantee you. And there's a lot we can't say on this platform that we're gonna deal with on that platform. So at any rate, that's gonna be my job for today, bro. Is to kind of walk them through history a little bit. Get those tickets. We're at 50 people. You already know that I'm not finna go live at 50 people. Those days are over with. Right. Nor will I come on here and not be compensated for my time. Because here's the thing. I'm not sounding pompous or arrogant. I watch our people pay for a lot of stuff, bro. Our people buy and purchase it's like something like $1 billion something a year that our people spend. So I said, oh, our people got money. People look like me got money. So the only thing that I ask for is just a contribution. It's just a contribution. I don't need it. But if you feel so compelled today while we're talking that something I said or mentioned you did not know, you never heard of, or it's new information, if you feel compelled to make a donation, and do that. Because here's how college works. College don't even ask you what you want to learn. They give you a choice of things to learn. They teach you those things.
Teach.
But you pay $1,000 for college. Anyway, so bro, Black history. When you think of Black history, how far back in your timeline mind does pictures in your mind go? That makes sense?
Yeah. Black history. We go back to the dinosaurs, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, blah, blah, blah.
Isn't it funny that and here's what I think about the conscious community or whatever the case is. Isn't it funny that brothers and sisters in the community will rock the unks? They know about, well, they think they know about a thing or two about Egypt. And they see all these ancient artifacts that predate the notion of slavery in America. They see all these thousands of years old. They see it. Anybody sketching it in the cartoon pictures? No, it's still there. And it's thousands of years old. You would think that our minds would say, well, damn, if we can build those pyramids, if we can do all these like kingdoms. The earth was ruled by people of color. And it's hard for our mind to understand that. So what they do, they perpetuate pictures like this. When you say Black history, your mind probably go back to 1619, maybe Jamestown, Virginia. That is literally as far as your mind can go. When you think about that shit, Black history. Black history starts with slave ships. And it was funny because, okay, we're 60 people. Come on, a couple more people. Share. Listen, y'all. We about to go the fuck in today. And I haven't forgot about housekeeping rules and proper protocol. First responders, I got you. I'm gonna let Chrome do his due diligence to the first responders, but listen, first responders, let's get a couple more people here first so everybody can know who y'all are.
Okay, put some
See,
respect on their name. That's right.
if we wait a couple more minutes, instead of 60 people watching, it's gonna be 100 and something people watching. Then we're gonna announce y'all in front of hundreds of people, not just 60 people. So I wanted to dive into Black history, and what I ended up finding out, bro, that there were actually two societies. Not hard to fathom. You can go to Atlanta. Atlanta is the Wakanda when it comes to so-called Black folks running shit. Black mayors. The city itself bleeds Black dollars. But there's two societies in Atlanta. Not so much a variance how it was back then, but see what you're looking at right now on this screen in front of y'all, those individuals with those bags of cotton. In your mind, that's slavery. When in fact, they're at work and that's their land.
Teach.
They're at work, they're working, and it's on their land. That's not a fucking plantation. See, the planters came later, and the word plantation or planters implies a corporation. So look at the plantation house as a office building. There's no office buildings back there. Some shabby homes back there, but that's their land and they're at work. These are agriculturalists. This is why in my presentation on February 10th, I'm going to show you the Europeans use agriculture and labor to control our people. That's why your granddad and your grandma and them always tell you what, work a job and retire and draw your pension. Young kids, you can't mention pension to young kids think you're trying to actually physically pinch them if you mention the word pension. They don't know what that is.
Stop it.
This young generation not going to work 30 fucking years, 20 years, 30 years for what? I got to work that long every single day of my no. That laborer's mentality came with your granddad. Granddad stayed working. Yeah, granddad had a fucking heart attack. Granddad stroked out. Diabetes. Yeah, he died of complications. He didn't die peacefully in his sleep. Granddad worked his ass off because his daddy worked. Because these are laborers. So what some Europeans did in the early stages of history, Black history, 1900s, late 1800s, they began to formulate schools to begin to take advantage of these agriculturalist Negroes who knew how to plant the cotton, who knew how to grow the corn, who knew how to grow the tobacco. Because see, Africans don't grow tobacco or corn or cotton. So placing 1,000 Africans from Africa on a plantation yields you know nothing because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's not even the same soil. So those Africans were not the workers. And this is in your head. You were brought from Africa to work. Work and do what? Shit, we don't know. Anybody that thinks that you were brought out of Africa into the Americas and slavery starts with that narrative, you're incorrect. There's a lot of information in there, but we're going to stick to the society. So this is the working class society. You follow what I'm saying? This is the
Right.
working class society. The picture right beside it is dealing with runaways. This is the Fugitive Slave Act. That black and white picture next right to that picture is the Fugitive Slave Act. And we can go into stuff like that. We can talk about John Punch. Who knows who John Punch is?
Not I.
I'm gonna show you who John Punch was right quick. John Punch sought the standard for owning Negroes for life. And this is in the 1600s. John Punch. Let's read about John Punch, family. 1 second. Can you guys see that? John Punch was born in 1605. What was he? He was an enslaved African. Now, keep in mind, 2 words, family. I want everybody to write this shit down. And this is how we want to go over this shit February 10th in that Zoom class. So I'm not gonna give you all the jewels, but I want to give you enough today. And we're at 90 people. I need 10 more people to tap in. I'm not gonna turn it up until we get to 100 people. John Punch, write this name down. John Punch was an enslaved African. Now, on your piece of paper, put enslaved African, and to the right or to the left of that word, put freedman. So you can have two categories. Let me show y'all something. Put enslaved African, one column, and then put freedman, all one word, and one column. Now you're gonna put John Punch under enslaved African because he's from Angola. He's from Angola. Now this is 1605. I can bring you to America in 1605, or what they call North America 1605, and I can also show you people like Chief Tamachichi and Metatron, who were not from Africa; they were from here, and they're dark-skinned people. You follow what I'm saying? So the freedmen, also known as American Indian, also known as Negro, they were their own category. Pay attention to this shit. So John Punch was an enslaved African from Angola. He lived in the colony of Virginia, the Virginia colony. Thought that had been, he was a district servant. Now, slavery and servitude are different. This is a form of labor in which a person is contracted to work without salary for a specific number of years. This is what the Asian people do, bro. At the Asian hair stores. You ever go in an Asian hair store and notice that all the employees are of the same persuasion?
Come on.
Even Chinese food places, all the fucking faculty team members are what? Asian.
Right.
You might find one in the hood where you have one brother in there, but he's probably, just doing plumbing and sweeping and stuff like that. He's not really working there for real. But anyway, the point is, indentured servitude is what they do now. They work in a hair shop for 1 year. After the 1 year of servitude, they receive $100,000 to open their own hair store. Go look it up. So anyway, this is John Punch. He attempted to escape to Maryland and was sentenced in 1640. Now, in 1640, family, I want you guys to tell me in the comments right now, in 1640 in America, what do you think slaves were doing as far as labor? Was it cotton? Was it tobacco? What was it in the Americas? But this is Virginia and Maryland, and we're North America. Write in the comments, what do you think, what type of labor you think they were doing? What type of labor? Now let's go back up here. All right, Crumb, we had 103 people. You want to do your due diligence, brother, and those first responders, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Now, I actually don't have access to them, but if you could pull them up, I'll gladly read them. So yeah, family, what we do is we want to recognize everybody, but for time's sake, being that we have more than 100 people in the room, we'll do the first three. We call that the perfect, and I want to emphasize perfect, trifecta. Number one of the perfect trifecta, it's True King. This is my brother from another mother, my man 100 grand. He's also a moderator. Put some respect on his name. He says, peace, family, with the big Ashe. Tap all the way in, family. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Number two in the building, this is my brother from another mother. This brother, we are obviously cut from the same cloth. He, as well as I, is a master student. It's Chris G. He says, peace and light, family. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Always glad to have you in the building. Three in the building. This right here is a good indigenous brother. He knows his math. He knows his science. He knows his nationality. He understands his history and heritage. This is Indigenous People Month. It's Kick Rocks. He says, come with it, Pastor. Amen.
Oh, good. I mean, we actually had a lot of people tapping in pretty early too, man. Samstone 41%, peace family, lit, peace and love. Oh, for real, master students, absolutely, master teacher, master student, peace, peace, peace. Rainbow light warrior, peace and love, and it's great, man, because today is holy day. Today is the holy day. A lot of peace, a lot of love. It's long. Couple more real quick. Solo 5,000 peace. See everybody. Hey man, I'm loving it. Feeling the love, Crom. Feeling the love. Bruce Davis, peace. I'm starting to think all y'all rehearsed this shit. Everybody saying peace, 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 peace.
Shout out to Will
love it.
Justice.
I love it. I love it. So listen, we had 110 people. Now we can teach. Because I asked a question earlier. What were they doing? I got tobacco, sugarcane, sugar. A couple people answered tobacco. One person answered. All right, so we got sugar. The sister says sugar cane. That's a great guess, actually. But the sugarcane plantations were in what we call the islands. This is Virginia, Maryland. This is North America, right? 3 Americas: North, Central, and South. Central America, the islands out in what's known as the Atlantic Ocean, right below Florida. I'm talking about Cuba, Haiti, Puerto Rico, St. Louis, St. Bart, all those joining islands. The sugarcane plantations actually took place in that region. Virginia, Maryland area in 1640, tobacco was about to pop off. We have to keep in mind timeline. So right down 1640. We haven't got to the Revolutionary War yet, people. We haven't even got to 1774 yet. We're 160 years. I'm sorry, about 120 years from the Revolutionary War happened. So it ain't too much of that going on with industrialism or cash product. They're still setting up the chessboard. This is the House of Burgess, the Virginia Assembly. This is the Philadelphia Company, the Virginia Company. These are those people establishing in 1640. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. 1640, nothing. Tobacco is underway, but in 1640, much of North America, out past the colonies, the original 13 Eastern Seaboard, out west to that, you had France and Spain. You had people like Cortez going through what's known as Texas, looking at Mexico. All right. You had people like Ponce de Leon in 1492, which is about 200 years prior to this, already establishing the government of Spain in places like Puerto Rico and Florida. So when we talk about Black history, let's also keep in mind timelines. So there was nothing in 1640 that anybody from Africa could have been doing in North America. That's the point I'm trying to make for y'all. 1640, definitely a lot of Africans in South America digging up gold mines, for sure. Definitely a lot of people from Angola, Congo, Nigeria, those regions of Africa, export-wise, were definitely coming into places like Haiti. And then later you're going to see these same African, Haitian, Caribs come into places like New Orleans later. And they're going to commingle with those French white men and create something called Creole. They spoke patois and French. This is all connected. We're going to deal with it. So this is John Punch. I'm going to move forward. John Punch, he was sentenced in 1640 by the Virginia Governor Council. Look at the seal. Can you guys see that seal right here? This is known as the Virginia Assembly, or also known as the House of Burgess. That's why you see this. This is a king Can y'all see that, Chrome?
It's like half of it.
So I click on, let's see. Click on. There we go. That better. There we go. All right. So this emblem right here, this is royalty or king, but in his hand, this is called Globus Securum. This is the church. This sword and this right here. And this sign we shall conquer. Now, the sword sometimes is inside of a crown, and it says in hoc signet vince in Latin. Same assembly. This is Europe basically exerting power, their ecclesiastical power over on North America. See right here, House of Burgess. The House of Burgess was elected representative element of the Virginia General Assembly, the legislative body of the colony of Virginia. Out of this is where you get people like when you say the first black president. Now we're gonna go from John Punch. John Punch was sentenced to life, basically. John Punch, the first official slave in the English colonies. In his case, as first legally sanctioned lifelong slavery in the Chesapeake. So he is the official first slave. This is 1640. And what I'm trying to do is get
Wow.
a timeline in your head. There was no slavery as they are showing you. That picture I just showed you was your cousin them at work. They worked outside. Nigga, they hot. It's sweating. Yeah, all kids didn't go to school back then. Get y'all ass out here and work. Go to school, learn what? Teach you all you need to know, which was agriculture. That's why you have some people now who go to Harvard and Stanford who can't grow nothing. You got some dumb po people who can grow everything. One is connected to the earth, one is not.
Teach.
But what the Europeans going to do, I'm going to show you in a second, they're going to take the idea of education, collegiate college, and agriculture, and they're going to amalgamate, to teach, and to also extract information from these brown and black children. And you're going to start seeing these asylums. I'm going to show you a couple different asylums. Remember that word asylums. A couple of asylums where they're releasing out children to work. All black and brown children. Orphans, they called them. Because their black mom was too busy raising the white kids. They didn't have daycare. But I'm going to show you all that. So, John Punch, 1640, he's the first official slave. The first. Not 16 who came to Hampton later. I'm going to show you the 19 or so that came into Hampton also, Hampton, Virginia. Because this takes place where? Virginia. And I'm going to show you the first 16 or 19 so supposed slaves who came to what's known as Fort Comfort, Virginia. Watch this. Keep in mind, John Punch, first slave. Watch this. Oh, wow. Right there. Boop. Now, John Punch, 1640. In the late August of 1619, about 20 or so years before John Punch, 20 to 30 enslaved what? Africans. Now, remember on your paper I told you earlier, make two columns. One column is going to say enslaved African. One column is going to say freedmen. Keep those two columns. Under the column of enslaved Africans, put 1619, 20 to 30 Africans came to where? Fort Monroe, Hampton, Virginia, aboard the English privateer ship, not slave ship, privateer ship. I'm going to show you the privateer ships. I'm going to show you what a schooner is. You've never heard of a schooner, right? These are small cargo ships, like in the movie 12 Years a Slave. They came off, if you notice, when they were standing on that pier, it was all cargo out there. They were cargo. We'll talk about that later, because that's Admiralty law at that point. 20 to 30 slaves from Africa landed in Port Comfort, where Port Monroe, Hampton. Something else is interesting about this location called Hampton, because you get the next HBCU in Hampton. Watch this now. When was Hampton University founded?
According to Virginia Museum of History and Culture, Hampton Institute in Booker T. Washington, Hampton Normal and Agricultural Institute was founded in 1868 by General Samuel Armstrong. He was interested in moral training and a practical industrial education for Southern blacks.
1868. Remember now, slavery ended in 1865. Just 3 years later, you guys getting your own black HBCUs built. What is happening? There's two different societies, family. I'm gonna show you the Black Boule Society of that time, and I'm gonna show you another society that they always perpetuate, which are the poor, the struggling, the incarcerated, the death. They perpetuate those images during Black history. That's not your history. So 1868, you get Hampton University. What's interesting about Hampton University? Two things. General Samuel Armstrong. Then you got Booker T. Washington. Now, Booker T. Washington is not George Washington Carver. Two different black people. Don't get it confused. I know. Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver pops in here. Two different people. But George Washington Carver being the master agriculturalist, to where Booker T is gonna go have to see the brother. Look at what's his name again? Look at not Booker T. Washington. Look at George Washington Carver as the Dr. Sabi of his time. Master with the fucking plants. Green thumb. Interesting fact about George Washington Carver, his white adopters, people who adopted him, had him castrated. They was afraid that he was going to sleep with their daughter. That's why he talked with a high-pitched voice. People thought he was homosexual. It's facts. George Washington Carver, the ancestor, who gave Henry Ford the soybean to create plastic for cars. Because Henry Ford was about to lose those Ford companies because all the scrap metals were being shipped to Germany to build tanks during World War II. So George Washington Carver invents the soybean, which is plastic.
Fun fact, real quick. Henry Ford. Well, okay. At that particular time, when you're dealing with the wars, the world wars, let's just predominantly say World War II, that was a manufacturing war. And when you say Japan, the industrial industry that was funding the war was small engines. So that's Suzuki and Yamaha. When you say Germany, their industrial powerhouse was BMW and Maybach.
Yep.
Italy was Maserati, and America was not Ford. Ford lost that. Ford would be 10 times bigger than what it is now had they got that World War II contract. That went to Chrysler, the Christ Slayer. Chrysler was the one who gave you all of the American war machine. That's neither here nor there, just a fun fact of
wow, this nigga said Christ Slayer. I've never heard that.
Right.
Damn.
The Chrysler, the Christ Slayer, the 5-pointed star. That's why on all of your war vehicles, you're gonna have that 5-pointed star, and the Chrysler's symbol is the 5-pointed star. Actually, the Chrysler symbol is the Pentagon sign. The Pentagon, which is the 5-pointed star, is the Chrysler sign as well, and that's why it's on all of the war machines that Chrysler makes. the crisis yesterday.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. I said,
What the fuck? Bro, I did not know that.
Yeah,
Damn, I just let you cook too. That was crazy.
yeah,
Chrysler. Yeah, you got me on that one.
yeah. Y'all gonna get a little White History Month too.
but listen, so 1868, I just showed you the 20 or 30 or so Africans coming here. So now we see two different societies happening. We see these people who just got off the boat. They're not exchange students, so that means they're not getting off the boat in Hampton and coming over to Hampton University a couple of years later. That's not happening. Those 20 or 30 so Africans, enslaved Africans, are about to be put to work doing something. Now, in 1868, there's a concern by General Samuel Armstrong to educate the industrious Southern Black people. So now, under your colony, freedmen put the word Black. We're going to deal with it. I'm showing you two different structures. Now, 1868 is called the Hampton Institute. Here's a scrapping young, good-looking fellow, Booker T. And we're going to talk about him too. In fact, we're going to talk about a couple of different individuals that I bet you didn't know about. Two things. 1868. We're in the late 1800s. We're about to go into the 1900s, what was back then known as the 20th century, which was a big deal back then. It was kind of like, remember the countdown to 1999 to the year 2000? Everybody thought the fucking world was going to turn off.
Right, the Y2K scare.
Y2K scare. The late 1800s, the 20th century is approaching. People are afraid. Slavery
Right.
just ended.
And
Go ahead.
after slavery ends, this is the dawn of the Industrial Revolution.
Right, because that was the whole plight. The Union and the Confederacy. Remember, the Union was funded by Europe. Because here's what was happening. The raw cotton that was coming out of the South had to be manufactured. So Europe actually had an industrial age prior to America, and Europe was manufacturing the cotton coming from the Americas. The same individuals, investors, Lombards, capitalists, said we'll do it cheaper in America. So they began to build manufacturers and companies in these industrial buildings in the North, mainly from New York all the way through Chicago, all the way through Michigan. The North had industrialized. So the North was asking the South, let's work together. The South said, fuck y'all. The succession happened. But to bring the South back into alignment, they did things like they did what's called the blockades, remember? They didn't let the South export no more cotton. That's what the Union did. It's called the Monitor and Merrimack or the Ironclad battle. Look the shit up.
Well, let me see if I can tell the story
Please.
as well. So now I want to ask the family before I tell my side of the story. I want to ask the family, what was the reason? Because we already talked about, well, I already threw you off track with World War II. So let me throw you off track just a little bit more with the Civil War. What was the reason for the Civil War? I'm asking the disciples, the divine family, the master's students. I'm asking everybody. What was the reason? Calling all disciples. What was the reason for the Civil War? So while the family decides on what they think the answer is, I'll tell you the answer unless the minister wants to say anything.
I'll just add this little piece of value. I want you guys to keep in mind, we're talking about the Civil War. We're talking about actually the thought of the Civil War began in 1861, but 1861 to about 1866, 67, all the way through Reconstruction. If you guys know what Reconstruction is. And I'm glad you mentioned this, bro, because remember, I gave you guys two categories. I'm going to say this. I'm going to pass the mic. In the beginning of the show, me and Chrome haven't talked about none of this shit. I gave you guys two categories, enslaved Africans and freedmen. So now what Chrome is talking about and dealing with in that time frame, we're going to cover what's called the Freedmen's Bureau, which came from the War Department, which Lincoln was acting in his war power capacity, because Lincoln was not the president of the South. He was president of the Union. Keep that in mind. Also keep in mind who was the president of the South at the time, Jefferson Davis. So that means the North can't tell the South what to do. Think about that in your answer. Go ahead, bro.
So now we're leaving the 1800s, going into the 1900s. That means, and I'm not going to go into the 1900s, I'm going to the actual numbers. We're going to go from, let's say, 1890 up until 1899 to the year 1900 up until 1910. This is the 20-year span. Because remember, the Civil War is 1865. So now, 1800s, you have the South with the raw materials, the raw product. So now you have to manufacture those raw products into whatever it is you want them to be. Clothes, blankets, flags, whatever. So now the North wants that contract. All the raw products, all the raw materials coming out of the South will go to the North and be produced or manufactured up there within their industrial economy. So now the North is competing with Europe, who at this time has no raw material, which they've never had anything since the dawn of time. Nothing is produced, no raw materials coming out of fucking the Eurasian Peninsula. Anyway, so now they are industrialists. And this is going to be from London in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
London is the first the first metropolis that the New World has ever seen. They break 1 million people in the city, which
Hold on. Say that one more time for the record.
London has a population boom that in one particular city the world has never seen before in that century, or maybe in that couple of centuries. You don't have a city like that in Europe ever before, which that population, not in that area, and not for a long time before and a long time after. So now, if you Google, and this is weird as fuck, and I don't know why people don't talk about it more. Where did all them fucking people come from? A lot of people will tell you that came from the Industrial Revolution. This is where the movie Willy Wonka comes in at. This is where the movie uh Huckleberry Finn, all these fucking dirty white kids, they're just, because remember those factories, this Industrial Revolution, there's kids in those factories. There's kids in those factories working.
So I just want to understand. You said there's nothing of significance in Europe at the time of 1800s.
Correct. London is your first, let's say, mega city. It's your first mega city. You don't see a city like London in Europe since Rome.
Oh, gotcha. You're right. Because you know what I was thinking, bro?
What's that?
This time period right here. This is the Tartarian Empire. They was building these. Look at this shit. It was the architecture. This was during the time it shouldn't have been doing this. Building wise.
Right.
Monolithic structures throughout. So when you were saying, I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, what I would ask,
because
the reason I say Rome is not necessarily because of the architecture, but if you go and look at the population. And the reason I bring up the population is because that's what led to the Civil War. They had this crazy industrial revolution, which if you Google why were there so many kids around the late 1890s, early 1910s, why were there so many kids? They go, oh, that was because of the Industrial Revolution. Because we all know that Europe was going through an industrial revolution in the city of London. This is where we get the Willy Wonka movie from. This is where we get a lot of those Raggedy Ann. I'm sorry, not Raggedy Ann. What's that red-haired girl name? She was an orphan.
Orphan Annie.
Or Orphan Annie and all that shit. So now Europe was jockeying for that position to get that contract for all the raw materials that the South was producing. Once the North found out that they were about to get boxed out of that whole loop, the North was like, nah, you got to give us that contract because, we're comrades. And the South was like, fuck a comrade. We not down with y'all niggas like that. What are you talking about? So they're like, oh, we not? Well, we're going to fight about it because we are, that contract should automatically go to us because America first. Like, fuck America, nigga. It's fucking the Confederacy first. Listen, you need me. I don't need you. The fucking South didn't need the North. There's two of y'all. There's one of me. I think this was the exact same scene from fucking The Dark Knight where Joker went in there and said, listen, we're only hiring for one position. He broke the fucking broom in half and said, y'all got to fight to the death to figure out who gets this position. That's basically what the South was like. Listen, your competition right now is fucking London because we're gonna ship all our raw materials and they're gonna lead the Industrial Revolution because they got enough kids to be the fucking slaves. Remember, the fucking slavery shit in America with the fucking loitering laws and the laws associated with niggas, all of that shit was in Europe first. Those exact same laws, all those fucking I forgot what laws that the minister always brings up, but they were in Europe first.
Vagrancy law.
I'm sorry?
Vagrancy.
That's it. That's it, Pete. So now, if you go and look, they were jockeying for that position. So instead of the Union, Abraham Lincoln bitch ass, instead of going and oh nigga, don't you believe in fucking capitalism, pussy? I'm sorry for talking like that, family. I'm sorry. Y'all know my blood pressure. Don't you believe in capitalism? May the best man win. But no, instead of you sitting here trying to, have the better product to compete in a capitalistic market, you want to go to war with the daggone producer. Who do you think you are, Abraham Lincoln? Who do you think you are, Walmart? Walmart want to stick it to the farmers. Isn't that what the Union did with the South? You want to try to stick it to the farmers? You want to try to stick it to the mom and pop shop, the little guy out here producing the raw material? You vampire venture capitalist. If we're going to tell history, we're going to tell all of it. I yield.
Bro, going in. I did want to add value to something real quick. You were saying about the orphans This picture before you is the Howard Colored Orphan Asylum. And I'm going to talk to you about the Howard Colored Orphan Asylum. And I'm saying Howard because you can pretty much guess the trajectory that I just showed you. Hampton University or Hampton Institute, which was an industrial agricultural school. Everybody knows HBCUs are all agricultural schools. Nobody goes to FAMU or fucking Fort Valley State for credentialing. You go to Stanford and where else? Stanford and Yale for that shit. If you want those stats and credentials, right? These HBCUs came out of the belly of using Black orphans. These are Black orphans, by the way. And I got a lot more pictures, but we'll get into the other pictures February 10th on that live Zoom. These are Black orphans. It's called the Howard Colored Orphan Asylum. I keep saying Howard because, yes, General Howard, the same motherfucker who established Howard University for those little light-skinned mulattoes. And then later, Miss Spelman of Spelman College. There's a lot of connections in here, but these are Black orphans at the Howard Colored Orphan Asylum in New York. It's the first Black-run orphan. It's the first one since 1861 because the Quakers found it was called the New York Colored Orphan Asylum. So the New York Colored Asylum was founded by Quakers or the Quaker community. And the Quakers were always against slavery in the colonies. They were the first kind of co-op abolitionists to abolish slavery, right? Those are the Quakers. If you eat oatmeal, that nigga on front of the box, his people. They set up the first orphan in 1861. It got burned down during what was called, it was called the New York Race Riots. And we can deal with the New York Race Riot because the New York Race Riot in 1861 is a direct connection to the Civil War. They were recruiting those vagabonds on this. Matter of fact, there's a scene. I'm gonna find a goddamn scene. There's a scene. I'm gonna go back to this, y'all. There's a scene on the gangs in New York. And this goes with what you said earlier, bro, about those European vagabonds. That's them right here. Don't let the clothes fool you. They're all thieves, lowlives, thugs, Irish. Yeah. The Irish didn't get along with the Greeks, and the Greeks. This is on the streets of New York, y'all. The gangs in New York. But there's a scene where this where's he at? This character right here goes right up to punch a Black freedman on the street because they were recruiting. There was a poster of Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was recruiting. It was a draft, and they were drafting all of these jokers first because the Negroes were not allowed. Negroes had to go into the military in exchange for freedom, what was called a manumission. They were snatching these white boys off the street, putting them in the military. It's called the draft riot. I'm showing you. New York Draft Riots, 1861. See? I just showed you the real life pictures of these same people with their hats on and their vests and their nice little long sleeve shirts on and shooting, killing people. These were the gangs in New York, lynching Black people. This is called the Draft Riots. In the Draft Riots, they would pull names, and this is how you get recruited to go fight in the Civil War. But they used the European vagabonds, the people in the streets, the orphans from Europe who came over here. Now, this is the first wave of Europeans. The second wave comes in 1921-22, Ellis Island. Those are the real lowlives. They come over here next. So anyway, they've been drafted to go to Civil War to fight. 1863, 61, 63, this is called the New York Draft Riots. Look it up. But I wanted to add value to what you were saying a little bit earlier, dealing with the Civil War. There's a whole political story behind that shit, bro. That was happening entirely. All right, let's go back to this. This is the Howard Colored Orphan Asylum. I'm gonna read about it real quick. So, Black New York in 1625. Going back in time. In 1625, 11 enslaved Africans. So now, in your I hope you guys are keeping notes. In your columns, you got enslaved Africans. Remember the 20 to 30 who came to Hampton? Remember those people? And you got freedmen over to the right of your column. Now, under your column of enslaved Africans, I want you to put 1625, 11. So by my count, the 20 to 30 who came to Hampton and the 11 that came in 1625, we're at about 44 slaves from Africa in North America so far. So far, to the record, 44 of them. It's not a lot of people. That's a very small amount of people so far. So I'm going to attempt to get you out of your cotton picking mind by detaching Franz Boas' theory that you come from Africa, because you don't. In 1625, 11 enslaved Africans arrived in New Amsterdam. That's New York. Physically clear the land we now known as, to physically clear. They were brought here to clear off the land. Those 11 enslaved Africans were brought to New York, or New Amsterdam, they call it, to clear off the land. Some parts of New York, such as Harlem, are well-known Black neighborhoods, but Black people have lived in the impact all parts of New York for centuries. Let us take some time to explore the many areas of New York City where African Americans, see how they cross it back up from Black to African American? Confusing the fuck out of you, right?
Come on.
The newly freed African American women who had come to the North. This is what was called the second Great Migration. The third Great Migration happened in the 60s. So this is the second Great Migration of Negroes from the South going up north at this time period, 1870, around that time frame. Stay with me. The newly freed African American women who had come to the North seeking jobs had no choice but to work and care for children of white families. But who would care for their children? Orphanages were often available option at the time. So these Black women, because they had to work for white women, they put their Black children into orphanages or daycare centers.
Damn.
However, the orphanage, whether government or privately funded, refused to accept Black children. Black orphans often ended up in different forms of servitude, not far from slavery, living on the streets and sometimes housed in jail. However, one African American woman, write her fucking name down right now. And after I give you her name, you're going to go to your whatever chart and put her under freedman. However, one African American woman, recently widowed, decided to take matters in her own hands. In 1866, Sarah Tillman, Sarah Tillman, Sarah Tillman, was taking care of 20 Black children in Lower Manhattan home. Wilson was also able to gain financial backing from Oliver O. Howard, General Howard. Remember the first general I told you who helped found Hampton University? These are military war powers. You guys not even paying attention to the fact that military generals are investing in institutions. They can do that. That's not a fucking conflict of interest. I never seen a military. What the fuck is going on? These are general war powers. So when I tell you it's some more shit to the scene, pay attention. All right, anyway. So Miss Tillman is now taking care of 20 or so Black children in her house. Her and Mr. Wilson, whoever this character is, end up getting money from General Howard and the Union. In 1868, the name of the orphanage was changed to Brooklyn Howard Colored Asylum. There was one other issue, however. There was one other issue that Mr. Howard's orphanage was facing. It was very common for orphanage to participate in a indentured system, convict leasing. The children would be hired out, and the money made was to be held at the bank for them to turn over in their 21st birthday. This system was heavily criticized, especially concerning Black children, because it was too reminiscent of slavery. Other institutions, such as the New York Colored Orphan Asylum, instead of indentured servitude, began to place the children in foster homes. However, Mr. Johnson chose not to do that route, instead choosing to educate using the famed Tuskegee Institution model. So instead of putting these Black children in orphanages or putting them in foster care, let me put them in a learning center or agricultural school, an institution. Make sense?
Right.
And along this time frame, people, I'm gonna pass the mic. But along this time frame in the mid 1800s, early 1900s, you had other impactful people that I'm about to show you real quick. But I just wanted to kind of show you the that whole orphan era was both black children and white children. Yes, white children were out in the streets looking like Willy Wonka, the little, what's his name, Andy, eating cabbage soup. But the black orphans didn't eat cabbage soup. They ate pinto beans. And they ate collard greens. They may have some collard greens. Not no cabbage. They had collard greens because their grandparents still knew how to grow food. Remember
Right.
that picture, that black and white picture, them children right there. There's 2 generations from slavery. Like their great grandma's still living and they're feeding them. So these orphans are not going hungry. I just told you, Miss Sarah Tillman had 20 of these children in her house, 20 of them. And I can guarantee you what it looked like was, remember on the movie, any old music movie like Cadillac Records or shit like that, Array, they would stop along the way while they was touring at these houses. These houses were the first Airbnbs, by the way. You ever seen the movie Green Book? His Green Book had every stop you're supposed to make with black people back in that time because they didn't accept Negroes in hotels and certain establishments. So they had the Green Book, which was certain houses you could stop at. Miss Tillman turned her house into one of those houses for these children. That was the point I was making.
Okay. Now it's all adding up.
So write down that. Also, I think what needs to be talked about when we're dealing with so-called Black history is the amazing things that was happening in this time frame other than slavery. Because you say Black history, mind goes to slavery. Let's look at really what was happening in this time. Brother, have you ever heard of a scrapping young fellow by the name of Isaiah Montgomery?
No, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to all, this is Mr. Isaiah Thornton Montgomery. What's so special about him? Well, Mr. Montgomery was the founder, I said founder, of Mound Bayou, Mississippi, an all-black community. A Republican, he was a delegate to the 1890 Mississippi Constitution Convention and served as mayor of Mound Bayou. Wait a minute, Minister. You just showed me niggas picking cotton in 18 something. You saying you had niggas running for political office and they founded a whole community? This is prior to Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm gonna show y'all so many cities and give you so much information. I'm not even have to mention fucking Tulsa. No disrespect to Tulsa, Oklahoma. But I'm not even gonna mention Tulsa because all y'all know is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street. Tulsa, Oklahoma was an Indian reservation. Tulsa, Oklahoma was an Indian reservation.
Facts.
This city was founded. I'm showing you founders of the cities. Not they just moved into a territory and did a business co-op. No. I'm not talking about 3 streets. Greenwood, Orchard, and Pine was the 3 main streets of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm talking about a whole city. This brother established a whole city. And I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to show you another one. Because you all were not slaves. This is real Black history. Why they only show y'all the slave movies during Black history? Why they show you Roots, Color Purple, all that sad shit? Show me who this is. Why are you in your 30s and 20s and 40s, 50s, some of y'all 60s, and you never heard of Isaiah Montgomery? And this I gotta whisper. This motherfucker, no disrespect to the brother, was a Republican. Mississippi?
Yeah, you caught me off guard with that. I ain't gonna lie to nobody.
1890?
Right.
How is that possible, Crom? We at least a good 80, 60 years from Jim Crow, which is worse. Was 1890 better in Mississippi for Negroes? We're about to find out. So I'm not gonna go too much into this, brother, but just know Mr. Isaiah Thornton Montgomery. is one of those brothers that I'm gonna talk about on that live. I want to show you one more other brother that caught my attention that I found pretty fucking interesting.
Well,
go ahead.
brother, not to break your stride, but we did hit the hour mark. I wanted to try to, make some time for the commercial break real quick before we go too far.
Oh, for sure, because I got about another 15 minutes myself. Let me for sure.
I don't know if you're gonna see it or not, but I have an event today. I'm sorry, excuse me, tomorrow. I have an event tomorrow. I'm actually out here in North Carolina. I'm in Henderson. Yes, we are the Reptilians live lecture by the master student, hosted by the master teacher himself, Dr. Aleem El Bey. That's Saturday, February the 3rd. Happy holy day today to the Muslims and the Muslims. Happy holy day tomorrow to all of the Yehudis. Happy holy day on Sunday to all the Christians. So we will be in the building Saturday, February 3rd in Henderson, North Carolina, calling all of North Carolina. And if you're in Virginia, in the southeast, I think, the 757 is only 2 hours away from us. So if you're out there in the 757, you can also tap in. I wanted to try to do the live stream thing. I don't think that's going to be available, unfortunately. So tap in tomorrow with us. We'll be at his restaurant. It's called Juice and More. That's MOOROOR. Juice and More in Henderson, North Carolina, with Dr. Lee Melbay.
Are you supposed to guess I'm in Detroit also, or Detroit already gone over with?
No. Detroit's coming up. Now, after We Are the Reptilians, well, okay, yeah, there we go. Detroit, the real Gotham City. I know a lot of people don't understand the words, and I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just here to help where I can. So the word aristocracy, an aristocrat is someone who builds the city. So now, if you and me go to one of these third world countries in uh Saudi Arabia somewhere, and we build this is Monopoly, the game of Monopoly. If we build the railroads, the water system, and what's the other one in Monopoly, the electric plant, then we are the aristocrats of that city. So Wayne University, that's the college out there. Wayne University, the Wayne family, not Bruce Wayne, but if there's somebody in the family named Bruce, I won't be surprised. Wayne University is taking over the city of Detroit, because remember, the city of Detroit has a lot of cheap land, and this particular city is buying land. I'm going to tell you what the city's doing, because now they're getting upon the realm of being evil. With the things that they're doing in the city, they're overstepping their boundaries, and there are other aristocrats. There's only like maybe 4 families that have built the city of Detroit. It's only like 4 of them. And there are some subordinate black families that the names of them, Quincy Jones, but because the Jones family comes from a family of crime. Uh, you know, when you're dealing with certain aristocrats, those are crime families. The Quincy Jones comes from a crime family. Um, who else comes from a crime family out there? Barry Gordy comes from a crime family. Uh, who else comes from a crime family out there? The Wayne family. I digress. With that said, family, so I will be with Red Pill and Blue Pill at the end of February. That's Sunday, February 25th, out there in Detroit. Shout out to the D. What up, though? So tap in for that. So but real quick, I want to. There we go. Black His Story. Black Miss Story. White History. We Not Black History Month. So tap all the way in. That's going to be February 10th on Zoom with none other than the Minister of Information. You'll get your opportunity to ask him questions. And trust me, family, if you ask him a question, he will thoroughly answer that question. before we were even on YouTube, the minister was doing this in person, and I would come to his classes. This is before Crumb TV. This is before YouTube. This is before all of that. I would come to his classes, and I think the first hour maybe we just dedicated that to nothing but questions, and it was refreshing because he was at that time he was going over a lot of stuff about religion, and a lot of us never got the opportunity to ask our preacher questions. Those things were just frowned upon. So I think a lot of people really enjoyed that aspect of being able to ask the questions they've always wanted to ask, maybe whether it be about religion, the Bible, or about history of why we not black, or the slave trade, whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's my saying that. Thank you, mister.
Okay. Oh, appreciate it, man. That's peace. That's peace. That's peace. So, get the tickets. We're gonna mention it one more time before we get out of here. So I just showed you Isaiah Montgomery, the founder. He was an aristocrat of Mound Bayou, founding member of it. I also wanted to point out another scrapping, good-looking fellow, which is crazy because we're still talking about the 1800s. Hiram Revels. Who knows about Hiram Revels? And we still in Mississippi too, Crumb. We haven't left Mississippi. We still in Mississippi. Mississippi got me confused. I thought Mississippi was one of the most racist, planned out, craziest slave driving places in the world. See, this is the picture that they pump on y'all that during the 1800s, y'all was all plantations. All y'all. This is Hiram Revels. He was an American Republican. These are Republicans. Black people are Republicans. We're not democratic. He was a minister of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. He was a college administrator, born in North Carolina, in the state of North Carolina. Not too long before, after no, and this is time to know what drew Ali to y'all. I'm Moors. One day I'm gonna do a whole presentation on what was called the Third Great Awakening. The Third Great Awakening. You're gonna see 1820 all the way to about the 1930, 1940s, the influence of what happened in North America. Like it's crazy. So a lot of the history is going to be between those time periods. You're going to continue to see 18 whatever and 19 the early 1900s. You're going to continue to see those time frames. So keep that in mind too. This is how you become a historian. This is how you're able to talk in time and space. So anyway, he was a United States Senate as a Republican to represent Mississippi. Now, I just showed you one brother in Mississippi who founded a whole city in Mississippi during the so-called time frame of supposed slavery. I'm giving you two categories of freedmen. I'm giving you a category of enslaved African. You're going to put Mr. Hiram Revels under the category of, guess what? Freedmen. You're going to put the brother Isaiah Montgomery under, guess what? Freedmen. Now, John Punch should be under slave, and he's African. Check. All right. So this is Hiram Revels. Reading about Hiram Revels. During the American Civil War, Crum just talked to you about the Civil War. Did you know that Mr. Hiram Revels was involved in Civil War? No, because you just found out about Hiram Revels. Some of you about 2 seconds ago. This brother looked like somebody's cool ass uncle.
Right.
He looked like a Cowboy fan too, don't he? Dallas Cowboys fan. For whatever
That
reason.
is funny to me.
During the American Civil War, Revels helped to organize 2 regiments of United States colored troops and served as chaplain. He's a veteran. After serving in Senate, Revels was appointed as the first president of Alcorn Agriculture and Mechanical College. What did I just tell y'all? I want to see who's paying attention. What did I just? Because somebody out of 150 of y'all, somebody has to be keeping up and paying attention. They keeping up. You guys have to be keeping up at this point. I just told y'all during this time frame, I showed you Hampton University already. We talked about Howard Asylum, which became an institution later. I mentioned Howard University. Those are all agricultural schools. Now, Mr. Revels, a state senator, was the first president of Alcorn Agricultural and Mechanical College. That's another HBCU, all dealing with agriculture and labor. Here we go. Praise Moses. Praise Moses. Revels was born what? I can't hear y'all.
Free.
He was born what?
Drake. Free.
Drake?
Right.
Y'all gotta tap in February 10th with me, family. It's just not enough time on here. It's not enough time, and I ain't got my whiteboard. See, I get on Zoom, I got my whiteboard, I got my PowerPoint, I can go in. You know what I'm saying? Just listen, man. Hiram Revels, you should have 2 categories in a piece of paper. Bring your same paper February 10th when you tap in with me. I'm gonna give you more people on those categories. And then let you make a decision to say, damn, man, I thought we was all fucked up and slaves. No. There's going to be a time, family. Let's tell y'all. There's going to be a time in the near future, maybe 200 years from now. They're going to show pictures of our brothers and sisters in prison. And if they only taught that was the society back then, they're going to show Cardi B. They're going to show Sexy Red. They're going to show Housewives of Atlanta. They're going to show all this destructive ass behavior of a race called Negroes at one point. And they'll never talk about Tyler Perry or Oprah or any of the fucking success we had. This is what they're doing now. This is what they're doing with our history. They're showing you all the dirt gobbling, low down, evil, painful shit. They're not teaching you about Hiram Revels or Isaiah Montgomery. And I'm going to show you one more that's going to fuck your mind up. And we still going to be in Mississippi, nigga. And I mean, nigga, with all due respect. Let's get into it. Revel was born in 1827 in Fayetteville, North Carolina. To what? Read from bro. To what kind of people?
Free people of color.
With ancestors who had been free since before the American Revolution. Is this nigga an Indian?
Whoa, you better teach.
Wait a minute. Who these free people he talking about? Who these free folk he talking about here in America? He gonna get us in trouble. Let's
Stop.
find out who
Right.
free people of color. Let's get into it real quick because you've been. Oh, whoa. They got on clothes. They clean. They ain't picking no cotton. He in the military. I'm pretty sure he like a first corporal or something. That hat she got on brand new. Who did their hair and wash their clothes? Now the women's hair are wrapped up due to something called the tangent law. They can't show their hair in public. These colored folk, these Indians, put that long ass Indian hair up. You hide that fucking Indian hair. You don't show that hair in public. It's called the tangent law. Real shit. So, in the context of the history of slavery in the Americas, free people of color, people of mixed African, European, and what else? Native descendants who were not enslaved. However, the term also applied to people born free who were primarily of Black African descent with little mixture. There were a distinct group of free people of color in the French colonies, including Louisiana, the Caribbean islands, much of Saint Domingo or Haiti, St. Lucius, Dominicano, Guadalupe, Martinique, I think that's it, and Martinique. In these territories, major cities, particularly New Orleans, and the cities held by Spanish and substantial third-class primary mixed-race free people developed. These colony societies classified mixed-race people in variant ways generally related to visible features and proportion of African ancestry. Race for classification numerous in Latin. A freed African slave, also known as a Frenchie, freed. The term was sometimes meant to include free people of color, but they considered the term, what's that word?
Pejorative.
Pejorative. That's $1,000 word. Pejorative, since I guess pertaining to the majority, since they had been born free. And we'll stop right there. Okay.
Well, let me throw
Okay.
this in there.
Please.
Your uncle named Leroy, and you think Leroy a regular old nigga name? When really Leroy is French, Leroy. Because a lot of you niggas with these names, your name fucking Lafayette and shit.
Yep.
Why the fuck your name Lafayette?
Yep.
Lafayette, Leroy. A lot of these nigga names is French. Because a lot of us, because remember France is right there at the bottom. Is right there beside fucking Spain. The top of Spain is the south of France. And dealing with white people respectfully, I'm not even trying to get into the whole semantic shit. But when you're dealing with white people, family, in particular Europeans, I want y'all all to understand. You don't get white people until you get North European. Everything Southern European, those quote unquote white people, them half breeds. Those French are dark, the Sicilians are dark, the Spaniards are dark, the Portugal are dark, the Grecians are dark. You don't get white people till you go into fucking Norway, Sweden, Germany, up there towards Scandinavia and shit. When you dealing with the Southern European countries, a lot of them girls, we ran through them. Shout out to Hannibal in the gang. Gang.
Damn. Fucking nuts. I ain't even think about that shit.
Factory. What did Adolf tell y'all? Unless they got blonde hair and blue eyes, family, they don't fall within that classification. Because for real, a lot of them who got that dark hair, the dark eyes, your girl, Neutrinoid, Kim Kardashian, Neutrinoid. Because remember, when they were in them damn caves, they tried to do a reverse Yakub experiment where they tried to manufacture themselves back to being black people, and that's where the troglodyte was born from. A lot of these Dr. Moreau, olive tone Canaanites, Conan in the game. A lot of them with that certain features. A lot of them is mixed with us and lower Europeans.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I want people to pay attention to what these next fellas look like. And I want to show you this real quick. A little bit more about this brother. Natchez, Mississippi. I want people to remember Natchez, Mississippi. Or write it down. I guess she should have had another fucking category. Natchez. Natchez, Mississippi. Let me show y'all one more other person real quick. Tie this all in. So we have Isaiah Montgomery. We have Hiram Revels. It's all during the same time frame. I want to introduce to you guys one more other good brother of mine, Mr. Bruce. Let's talk about Mr. Bruce real quick. Mr. Bruce Mr. Bruce was an American politician who represented where? Mississippi. What's going on in Mississippi, man? 18, this during slavery, after slavery, right around slavery. I thought we was all in plantations, man. What the fuck is happening? What is happening?
Could I take a pulse check? Is there anybody in Mississippi on the live now?
Right. Who from Mississippi?
Is there anybody in or around Mississippi in the live right now? Shout out to Mississippi. I'm sorry. Please continue.
M.I. cricket letter I.
Ah, right.
So I just gave y'all three good brothers in Mississippi. 3 people in Mississippi. Let's read about Mr. Bruce real quick. Mr. Bruce was a representative of Mississippi as a Republican. Again, black folks were Republicans, not Democrat. In the United States Senate from 1875 to 1881. Born into slavery. In Prince Edward County, Virginia, he went on to become the first elected African-American senator to serve a full term. How can he be born into slavery and still... Wait a minute. I thought slaves couldn't... What are they teaching us? He went on to become the first elected African-American senator to serve a full term. Hiram Revels, who we just learned about, also in Mississippi, was the first African-American to serve as U.S. Senate, but did not complete the full term. His home, the Blanche K. Bruce house. This is still here, family. You can go see this. It's in Washington, D.C. The address is 909 M Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. It was built during the same year slaves were being emancipated, and a black person lived in there, and he wasn't a slave no more. It was a home of a slave born into slavery. I'm going to show you what that word is also. When you're born into slavery, it doesn't mean you're a slave. You're just born into the system. I'll show you in a second. Who was the first African-American to serve full term in the U.S. Senate. So this is another black senator. In fact, in Washington, D.C., you're going to see a lot of people like him that look like him in D.C. That's another time for Howard University. So there's another good brother. Bruce born into slavery in 1841. Near Farmville to Polly Bruce, African-American woman who served as a domestic slave. His father was his master. That's not surprising there, right? His father was named Pettus Perkison, a white Virginia planter. You see the word planter? That means plantation owner. A planter. This was a whole other class of individuals. See, I showed you a second ago about the free people of color. Now write down the planter class. Listen to what it says. The planter class was a racial, social, economic caste which emerged in the Americas during the European colonization in the early modern period. Members of the caste, most women who were settlers of European descent, consisted of individuals who owned or were financially connected to, and it goes on to read, plantations, large-scale farms devoted to produce. This is what a plantation is, first of all. A plantation is a large-scale farm devoted to producing cash crop and high demands across Euro-American markets. The plantations were operated by forced labor of slaves and indentured servants and typically existed in tropical climates where the soil was fertile enough to handle intense plantation agriculture. Tell me what it is. This is a planter society. It was a racial and social economic caste system. Free people of color, planter caste. You got that? So we're done with Mr. Bruce. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I want to get to before I close this thing out real quick. What is the Freedmen's Bureau?
According to Wikipedia, the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, usually referred to as simply the Freedmen's Bureau, was a U.S. government agency of early post-American Civil War Reconstruction, assisting freedmen in the South.
If you haven't wrote this down, write down Freedmen's Bureau. That's a little small. Find a better one. Write down Freedmen's Bureau. This is Black History Month, guys. Let me read to you what it says. It said the Freedmen's Bureau, the Bureau of Refugees, The Bureau of Refugees. Anybody not attached to land is considered to be a refugee. Okay. So the Freedmen's Bureau, their purpose is the Bureau of Refugees. This is so-called Negroes, so-called black folks, so-called slaves. The Bureau of Refugees, freedmen in abandoned lands. How did the lands become abandoned? The War of 1812, people like General Andrew Jackson, Trail of Tears, First Great Migration, shit like that. Also known as the Freedmen's Bureau, was established by the War Department by an act of Congress in March of 65. This is the same year as emancipation happened. Lincoln didn't do this, though. The Bureau was responsible for supervision and management of all matters relating to the refugees or the displaced Negroes. While they was all fighting, their farms got burned down and their lands got taken away from white squatters. Freedmen, land abandonment, or seizures during during the Civil War. Duties previously shared by the military commanders in the U.S. Treasury Department officially. In 1865, President Andrew Johnson appointed Major General Oliver Otis Howard. Y'all ain't saying shit. I'm showing y'all how General Howard, the same motherfucker who founded the Howard Orphan Asylum, the same motherfucker who founded Howard University, is the same guy, just so happened to be in charge of the finances to reestablish these so-called freedmen. Major General Oliver Otis Howard as Commissioner of Freedmen's Bureau. Howard's headquarters were in Washington, D.C., but the assistant commissioner, sub-assistant commissioner, and the agent conducted Bureau's daily operations in the form of Confederate states and border states in the District of Columbia. So the War Department of the Freedmen's Bureau was in charge of giving these so-called Negroes who were a part of the Civil War. These are Civil War veterans. When they came back home, their lands had been taken by white squatters. You have to keep the time frame in your head. It's a certain time frame I'm dealing with. Upon return from the Civil War, these black veterans like, what the fuck happened to my farm? Where are my cows and my mule at? Why daddy out fighting, ain't nobody there but the kids and mama trying to work the farm by themselves. Work the mule, the plow, all that shit. Land got taken away. The Freedmen Bureau said, ooh, let's come up with this thing called 40 acres and a mule. That's who came up with that, family. The Freedmen's Bureau. The 40 acres and a mule were not for all black people. Only for the black farmers who lost land during the Civil War. The establishment of the Freedmen's Bureau was to help displaced freed Negroes in the South to get their land back. 40 acres and a mule never applied to all of y'all. Just like Jesus coming back to save never applied to all of y'all.
Damn, Gina.
Jesus said, I'm coming back for one group of people. The Freedmen's Bureau said, we're here to help one group of people. Now, how history tells you is everybody get 40 acres and a mule. No. Just the ones who were displaced. That's all. That's all. I'm going to do this last piece and wrap it up, family. And thank y'all for rocking with us this long. Y'all know one other holiday that I love other than Black History Month is motherfucking Juneteenth.
That's right.
That's the only other so-called Negro holiday. Hold on. We'll just talk about how they robbed the Freedmen's Fund. Oh, yeah, Will. Yeah, for sure. The Freedmen, all that money they're supposed to went to reestablish those displaced, disenfranchised black farm owners. Money got lost. They gave money away. They went and did their own thing. It was never controlled. But remember who was in charge of it? The commissioner of it, General Howard. The same Howard who gave you the institutions, the black institutions. So I wonder if Mr. Howard put some of that money in the institutions. I'm going to open a case against Mr. Howard and say that you were a general in the U.S. Army during the 18 whatevers, what was your salary? How could you afford to open up institutions? Where does money come from? And then get the receipts from the fact that he was in charge of the commission. He was the commissioner of the Freedmen's Bureau in the Treasury Department. Great point. Great point, Will. But let me show y'all this real quick. So you got your paper, you got two categories. You got the enslaved Africans and you got the freedmen. We're going to jump over to what's known as General Order Number 3. General Order Number 3 was read to the Texans, slave people. Supposedly. This was a general order, a letter. This was not a proclamation. Now, Lincoln did say that slaves were to be set free. Lincoln did say that. But this right here is not a presidential letter. This is a general order. This is a military. This is under what we call martial law. Because during the time of Civil War, martial law had assumed the position, the authority. There was no governing structure during the Civil War. Martial law took over. So during that time frame, you're going to see things like General Order Number 3. Is that a law? Is it a statute? Is it an ordinance? No, that's a military judicial situation. You're under military jurisdiction now. So under military jurisdiction, this letter was read to a group of individuals in Galveston, Texas. But I'm going to show you how many individuals are involved in this letter, because remember, you should have your two categories. Let's pull it. Give me a second. All right. Get your categories ready. All right, sorry about that, family. All right, so let's get into it. Can you see that, Crown?
Yes.
You mind reading it from me?
Well, could you hold control and tap plus? Thank you. Washington, June 19th, 2020. On June 19th, 1865, 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln's historic Emancipation Proclamation, the United States Major General Gordon Granger
Hold on,
issued...
bro. Hold on 1 second. You said the Emancipation Proclamation was 2 years prior, so 63.
Yes, sir.
Oh, they're teaching us 1865 it happened. It happened in 63. No, like they're teaching us 1865 is when it happened. It happened in 63.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Just keeping track of the numbers. Wow.
Right. Gordon Granger issued, excuse me, on June 19th, 1865, 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln's historic Emancipation Proclamation, United States General Major Gordon Granger issued General Order Number 3, which informed the people of Texas that all enslaved people were now free. Granger commanded the headquarters district of Texas, and his troop had General Order Number 3 states, the people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves.
Hold on right there, brother. When you see a period, let's reflect. It said all slaves are free. Stop. Reflect. All of them? Where are we at? Texas. Okay. Sorry. All the Texas slaves are free. Then you said masters and slaves. Two people. Masters and slaves. So write down slave and write down masters. Everybody taking notes. Write down slave, write down master. Continue, brother. Sorry.
This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection, therefore, existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor.
Stop right there. Let's not say slave master and slave. Let's say employer and employee now. HR, I think that's a lot better. Let's just say employer. You're my employer, not my master. I'm your slave. No. You're my hired labor now. That's what the fuck that just said. Let's pretend not to use those words anymore, slave and master. Let's just use employee and hired labor. Continue.
The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages.
Who?
The freedmen.
But I thought we said the slaves are free. Yeah, but there was another group of people. I told y'all there's two groups of motherfuckers that they never taught y'all about. So while this letter is being read to the slaves on the plantation, they also said, now listen, all you freedmen, y'all shut the fuck up and keep quiet. Y'all continue to work for wages. This was the letter that was read in Galveston, Texas, that you fools, some of y'all, celebrate Juneteenth for. Juneteenth
Damn.
was established off the fact, as it's being propagated, the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation of the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free, and some of them ran off. He was still reading the damn letter. You done ran off and start buying Juneteenth t-shirts, Juneteenth
Stop.
chops, you're cooking out on the grill. What are you celebrating? You ran off too soon. Now, the ones that ran off the plantation as soon as he said free, they were captured. They had vagrancy laws. They had fugitive slave acts going on. That's what happened to your boy in the same time frame. Remember the black dude went to court? Dred Scott? Dred Scott was one of the niggas ran off when he said that. Oh, we gone. Dred, no. Sit the fuck down. No. So you have three groups of people. You have the slave master, you have the slaves, and you have the freedmen. The freedmen are advised to continue to work for their wages. So we're going to keep paying y'all. I brought this letter up for a couple reasons. To talk about Juneteenth and to show you that there's two groups of people. Sorry. They're the freedmen, they're the slaves. Two groups of people, not the same people. You have Africans and then you have indigenous black folks of America. And I hope a lot of you are starting to understand the direction that I'm going to go when we do this event. When we do this event on February 10th, this is what we're going to do. We're going to break this shit down. We're going to break all of it down. I want to say appreciate all of you for tapping in, listening. Get those tickets. If you're interested in learning about the history, real history. And I try to be careful not to go too deep. Because it takes me 2 days to talk about this shit. And Chrome knocked up 2 days straight. But right now, excuse me, for whatever reason, I'm coughing. I need more water. That means time to shut the fuck up. Get those tickets, man. Get those tickets. Tap in with us. Tap in with me. Tap in with your boy. How do you get to the tickets, Chrome?
crumbtv.info/events. Let me see, can I put it in the comments? Chat for everyone. It's making me do some extra stuff to join the comments.
It's all good. I got it up there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey.
And just remember, family, we going to fuck in. I'm excited for it, man. I can't wait. February 10th, man. Tap in with your boy. I appreciate all y'all being patient with us. The wages of sin. I think I'm gonna come back for Juneteenth and do a in-person joint, bro. Let's set that up for Juneteenth this year in person.
Right.
And what's gonna happen is I only want 10 tickets. I'm only gonna sell 10 tickets for the in-person. $125 a ticket. 10 tickets. 10 tickets. That's it. We'll have a great time. We'll put it together, family. Y'all stay up, stay blessed, man. We're going to hit y'all with the information. I'm about to go up this Saturday in North Carolina. Dr. Eileen Bay. I never met Dr. Eileen Bay, man.
Remember when Sarah Sutanseti did that hit piece on Noble Jew Ali on Sarnetta TV?
Yeah.
Dr. Eileen Bay came back and bodied Sarah Sutanseti behind that video.
I got to see that. I got to see that because Seti took the head off a motherfucking.
I remember that. I remember.
He fucking bodied that shit, bro.
He did. He did.
Bodied the whole situation. I'm like, God damn. That's what got me started on the whole tribute of looking more into Noble Jew Ali at the time.
I was on the exact same energy. It took me a while before I even dared hit that button. But when I finally watched the video of Sarah Sutanseti versus Dr. Aleem El Bey, Dr. Aleem El Bey put Seti to rest respectfully. He put him to rest. I'm talking.
Not gonna watch it.
It's impressive. It's you already know. Sarnetta captured all of that, but nonetheless, absolutely, yeah. So I'm gonna be with Dr. Aleem El Bey. Hey, and you know what? Here, I'm gonna say this right now. Dr. Aleem El Bey said he'll lay down Dane Calloway respectfully. He tripping. No, listen. I'm
not.
Yo.
Listen. No.
Yes.
I want to have a conversation with Dr. Eileen Bay at this point. Off camera. I'm not coming to challenge nothing. He's gonna have to explain that one. He's gonna have to explain that to me. And I'm not saying I'm a somebody respectfully, but with Dane receipt log is just great. Like Dane Calloway's not even teaching people nothing. He's just exposing information, tangible physical information. There's no, and I'm not, on Dane dicking him like that. It's just the nigga shit is always right and exact.
Right.
So unless Dr. Eileen Bay got documents, like bro be bringing like actual authentic documents, like Library of Congress documents to the table, like, oh, they do say that. It's no different. Like in the last hour, I probably just put 100 motherfuckers on the fact that Hiram rebels even existed. Isaiah Montgomery existed. You see what I'm saying? They didn't even know that kind of information. So unless Dr. Eileen Bay got receipts, verifiable receipts, that's going back to the Oshitush, that like the sister we had on there, the Sister Bell. The information Sister Bell was talking about was all right in his act. The Island of Mu, all that shit exists. So Dr. Eileen Bay got to come with it. Because it's respectfully, Dr. Eileen Bay information put me on the fact of a lot of stuff with Noble Drew Ali. So I respect Dr. Eileen Bay. But you know, I'm not for that African train. I'm not for the African train. We from here. And the good brothers show receipts that we from here. We're gonna set that up, bro. If Dan Calloway people listen to this, hear this live at any point, Dan Calloway people, contact, or we'll reach out to y'all. And we got to set that up. Dr. Eileen Bay versus Dan Calloway. That should have break the internet.
Yeah.
We would have to build the back end of your website to only host it on your website. It ain't gonna be on YouTube. It ain't gonna be nowhere available other than just crum.tv. Nowhere but your website. Nowhere. That'd be crazy. Dr. Eileen Bay better come with it though. That's all I can tell you. You better come with it. I'm not saying you can't come with it, but he better come with it. No speculation. Listen, you can tell him. If he with you, tell him. Hear my voice. Dr. Eileen Bay, respectfully. You go up against Dane with the indigenous information of North American continent. The only other person I heard speak prophetically about the North American continent dealing with Aborigine people, other than Dane Calloway, was what's his name?
Taj Tariq Bey.
Hell no. Taj is a pupil under what's his name, man? Ivan Van Sertima.
Oh, Ivan. Okay, yeah.
I'm talking about scholars.
Right.
Taj Tariq Bey is a ghetto scholar.
Damn, Gina.
No, respectfully, compared to Ivan Van Sertima.
Okay, fair enough.
Ivan Van Sertima speak nationally. I'm not saying, that brother don't. I learned a lot from Taj. Taj be speaking heat, man. Dr. Eileen Bay, they got heat. But neither one of these brothers are active in the temple. And I wonder, like, damn, why Dr. Eileen Bay or Taj in the temple? But I think we all know the answer to that. The same reason I'm not in there. They don't want radicals in there.
Right.
They don't want free thinkers in there. But anyway, Tap in family. If you're in North Carolina, if you're earshot away from North Carolina, if you're earshot away, that means anywhere 2-3 hour drive. Get out there Saturday, man. February 3rd. Crumb TV. We are reptilians. That's gonna be an interesting ass lecture too.
Yeah, I'm going all the way in.
It's interesting.
I'm tapping in to Bobby Hemmett. I'm tapping in to Brother Panic. I'm tapping in to Dr. Aleem El Bay. I'm tapping in to Malachi Z. York. Those are going to be the reference points.
Ooh. You could do you can do Dr. York all by itself and then kill it.
Yeah.
Damn. That's gonna be deep, bro.
Now after that, what's the next flag? Okay, so after that, February 10th, I forgot to put the day on that. Can somebody tell me what day February 10th is? I forgot to put what. I'm sorry?
Thanks to Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. So after the Saturday event with Dr. William L. Bay, the next Saturday will be with the Minister of Information. That's Black His Story Month. That's Black Mystery Month. That's Not So Black History Month. That's Lack History Month. Y'all better tap in. It's White History Month. Y'all know I will go there with you. You know I will. But yeah, with the Minister of Information is going to be on Zoom Saturday, February 10th. Get your tickets at crumtv.info/events. That's right, family. crumtv.info/events. Thank you so much, Minister.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir, brother. Hey, man. We're in the building, man. Once again, Crumb TV, man. Only on fucking Crumb TV, family. Only on Crumb TV. Stay tapped in. Hope you guys took good notes. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. Until motherfucking next time. Peace and love.